Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to talk about two different brands of e-bikes. I purchased a Lectric XP4 750 and my husband opted to buy a Velotric Fold 1 Plus. Both of these bikes have step-through frames and they're both able to be folded for transport. I will mention however that the range on the Lectric seems to be a little bit more, it's up to 85 miles, and the range on the Velotric is 68 miles. Truthfully, we haven't noticed much difference in range because we haven't went on a ride long enough to kill the battery in one go. It's easy enough to charge before your trip. However, the range might matter to you if you want to charge a little less frequently. Both of these bikes were purchased online, and I'd like to go ahead and share the differences in the way that they were shipped.
Oh God.
Let's start with the Lectric. I think the packaging was beautiful. Other than having to remove all the cardboard and the packing materials, the bike came fully assembled. My only complaint is that my chain fell off during shipping, but that was an easy fix. Gotta unwrap.
The chain's not on.
Yeah, that was actually something that I read on some of the reviews, is that most people say they have to put their chain on because mine came folded, so unfortunately it fell off during shipping. Now let's talk about the Velotric. Again, this bike was packaged beautifully. Like mine, it arrived safely with no damages. And while his chain might have stayed on during shipping, there are a couple differences between the way that my bike was sent and the way that he received his bike. For example, my husband had to spend about 10 minutes attaching parts of his bike that did not come assembled, such as his front tire, his front fender, and his kickstand. And I know for some of you that might not be a deal breaker, but I don't want you guys to see the way that I received my bike and then just assume that, you'll get your Velotric fully assembled, because that's not the case. That being said, I was super impressed to see that Velotric did include the tools that you're going to need to put the bike together, so at least that's a plus. You don't have to rummage around looking for the parts that you're going to need to actually assemble the bike. Another difference between the Lectric and the Velotric is mine has some quick release pedals and Josh's pedals have this screw-on design, so that might not really be important to many of you, but it is another difference between the bikes. Usually I would try and clip some of this out of the video, but I think for some of you this might be helpful in determining or making a decision on what kind of bike you want to buy. You might notice here that there are some fiddly parts, and my husband has a bit of time trying to get this front fender on. He actually gives up before this clip is over, so I just thought that might be helpful for some of you if you think you might yeet a wrench across the room trying to put this thing together. Maybe a Velotric isn't for you.
Just the shape of the frame.
My front fender is plastic, but Josh's is metal. And then, look, my back rack is different than his is. His is built into the bike, and mine's kind of an add-on. You gotta turn around and go the other way. Purchasing an e-bike, I think, is one of the best decisions I've ever made. Not only are my husband and I able to fully charge these using solar power, but we also just ride farther than I think we ever would have if we had normal bikes. For example, like I can just ride until I get tired, and when I feel like giving up, I can use the, power to help me get back home. So it's not like necessarily cheating. You could just, use it to go the farthest that you're willing to go, and then use the e-power portion to help you, not give up on your ride and get you back home when you're done.